volume and
Yeah.
starting the live stream so that we can just always like, talk our light stuff while we set up here. But
I was definitely having an identity crisis and I was trying so hard, and I went in for a consultation and she was like, I will take you tomorrow. I was like, okay.
okay. No, that's good. I know you had said before, you were like, yeah, I think I'm gonna like go darker, get some of the blonde out, and you came back way lighter. Interesting. But no, it looks really good. We're both in our like darker hair era right now. I mean, it's like,
And you know, it's gonna like both, you're in the sun, like you're literally in the desert. So it's gonna end up naturally anyway. But
yeah, I just sat outside just because again, I was feeling a little stagnant because I've been inside behind a screen all day. It is 103 degrees right now.
Like, I love that, but at the same time, what?
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I'm just gonna like sit outside and like feel the sun on my skin. And it was like, yeah.
Like you can fry an egg.
Quite literally. We have such a cute little patio with like a grill. And it was an aspiration. I have this like when I was in a relationship previously, one of the things that I actually really liked, so like a ritual that we had was like a Sunday Whole Foods grocery haul, followed by like sports, followed by grilling and drinking wine and watching sports and whatever. And I was like, man, we could totally do that here. And I walked outside, the grill's like in the sun because it can't be under.
You're like, I don't have to turn it on.
Can't be under the covered patio. It's a little bit of a fire hazard. So it has to be like out. So it's like just like, and I was like, all right, so we have to wait for the sun to go down in order to grill. That just seems like it's not going to work very well.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 9 o'clock. You're like, okay, I'm going to bed.
Literally, but I love our place. And for all of you guys who have been here for a while, I love that I have another new update for you guys. I'm back in Arizona, and
that's a perfect backdrop too.
It's so cute. This house is so cute. And I'm in a new Airbnb for the next 6 weeks. Keep up with the chaotic nomad. I actually don't feel like I'm going to be gone at all for the next 6 weeks. So all of our lives, I won't have a location update for you. I know you guys have been invested in.
I'm like, am I in 6 weeks? No, not yet.
No. Yeah. I just feel like every time I'm like, hey guys, joining me from new place, who dis, like whatever, every single time. So we're settled. But we have a fun thing for you guys today. Because this is so important. And I think, we all talk about our aesthetics and how we want to look and what our goals are there. But honestly, like I said this on my Instagram last night, while most people do come in looking for weight loss, the majority of people I talk to, their other like top thing that is a priority is their energy levels. I cannot tell you how many women I have talked to in this group, on Instagram, on consult calls, who are like, my biggest concern and complaint is just like, I have no energy to do my life. I have no energy to do anything. I'm trying to, be a career woman and also chase these fitness goals and also do all these other things. And I just can't because I just have no energy ever. And so I think that's something that we're finding with a lot of our newer clients. And we talked about this at one point is, realizing like, oh my God, I just like one of the unexpected, but really positive changes that I've experienced as a result of doing these things and working with you guys is I didn't realize it was possible for me to have this much energy. Like I just didn't think that was my life. Like I didn't know it was possible to feel like this. And that's what I want to drive home to you guys is it's absolutely possible. And you should feel good. I'm not saying you need to be like, crazy Energizer bunny every single day and just like going, crazy, but it's not normal to just feel like crap all the time and to feel low energy and to feel super fatigued. Just like as a baseline, that's not normal. It might be normal for you, but it is not how you're supposed to feel. And it is possible to feel better. And again, that's like the biggest thing I hear from people is just like, I have no energy. My energy sucks. And we're going to talk about some ways that you might not realize you are contributing to that low energy or certain things in your life that you might not be realizing are contributing to that low energy and how to change it.
Yeah. you hit the nail on the head with saying it might be normal for you. And if you start implementing these things and you realize that your energy starts to increase, that can be your new normal. And now you have something to compare it to. But I think for a lot of people, they're just like, I've just always been this way, or like in my adult life, it's always been this way, or I'm getting older, so I have less energy, or like my hormones or whatever, so I have less energy. And it's like, that doesn't always, or genetically, I'm not, people used to say to me all the time, well, you're just like an energetic person. And I was like, I mean, yes, I think that plays a little bit of a role, but I think your lifestyle has a lot to do with it too. So it doesn't have to be the truth for you if you think it's just like who you are or normal for you to feel this way. When you can experience what true energy feels like, you'll never want to give that up again.
Yeah, there's a difference between being like a natural extrovert in the way that you interact with people versus like chronic fatigue of, just like the way that you feel in your life. And so listening to this, like, let me know if you guys feel called out or seen by this. I'm gonna like describe to you like what a typical day looks like. I feel like for myself in the past, a previous version of me, and like what I see from people coming in when we have these conversations. I've had a lot of strategy calls lately with you guys in this group. And something that we uncover true is just like, hey, this is what a day in a life looks like for me, right? It's like usually wake up, definitely snooze my alarm a couple of times, get out of bed. I'm usually a little bit rushed, getting out the door, grab a coffee or something, grab some sort of quick snack on the way to the office, get there, probably put off having my first meal till like, 10 a.m. or so, grab another coffee. My first, meal is usually something pretty small because I'm trying to keep it light. Lunch, I usually work through lunch, sit at my desk, have usually like a salad or something, commute back, home, whatever, get home 5:30. I had intentions of going to the gym. I get home, I'm usually too tired, graze on some things while I'm waiting for dinner to cook, finally make dinner, then end up having popcorn after, usually end up having some dessert after. I just like find that I'm really good during the day. And then I end up kind of going ham on the pantry when I get home, wind down, watch a couple episodes of Netflix, maybe look at my scroll TikTok or whatever before bed, and then lay in bed, watch TV, fall asleep watching TV, repeat the cycle over again. Like this is just such a common, it's a product of lifestyle, right? So there's a lot of things within that and within, things that we think that we're doing to help our physique or help our lifestyle or to help our career or whatever that actually end up hurting us. And things that you may not be connecting as like things that actually rob your energy.
Yeah. And I won't go as in depth as you, but mine looked really similar, except I was so go, go, go. And I thought that I was running on energy, but I was actually probably just running on adrenaline. And so I was having trouble falling asleep, which would then cause me to be tired in the morning. And I just kept thinking like, okay, I have to, like, I still had this mindset of like, I had to do more. And then I'd get into bed and I didn't give myself any time to unwind, didn't sleep well. Next morning I'd wake up and it was like rinse and repeat cycle of like, okay, now I have to do something to like energize myself in the morning. And then that would just take me through the day. But most of it was me just running on adrenaline.
Oh yeah, I definitely lived through that phase too, where it's like, I'm just such a morning person. And it was like, no, I wake up with raging anxiety actually is what being a morning person is like. I am a morning person, but like to a different extent.
Yeah.
But with all that, I think you guys probably picked up on a few things in there, and there's so much that we could go into, but we'll try to keep it to like the top things that we want you to focus on if you find yourself kind of plagued with low energy levels. Where do we want
to? Okay. The other thing too, when we're doing this is I want to try to explain like briefly, because I'm sure you guys have heard like, okay, yeah, I shouldn't scroll my phone before bed, but why? It's not just because it's a bad habit. There's actually like a mechanical thing that happens in your body that messes with your melatonin, which like I want to like explain that, because for me, I'm the kind of person that if I know why something is affecting me, then I'll probably make the change versus being like, Shelby told me I shouldn't do this, so I'm not going to do it. Like that doesn't work for me. So why don't we start from like the nighttime and then going into the day? Is your routine at night is going to impact how the next day looks for you. So something which sounds simple, but when you have this habit already ingrained in you, and we're so addicted to our phones, spending time, especially that like crucial hour to half hour before you're going to bed, looking at a blue light, and also like being fixated on something and having it super close to your face. Like okay, a blue light comes through TV too, but if you're a little bit further away, it's not going to like affect you as much. But if you're staring at your phone before you go to bed, literally it's signaling to your body that it's light, right? So it's impacting your melatonin production, which your melatonin is like your sleepy hormone. That's when you start to kind of feel like drowsy because it's starting to rise, and it rises about 2 hours before your bedtime. So now if it's a half hour, you're laying in bed, your body is horizontal. It thinks it's supposed to be relaxing and producing melatonin, but you're staring at this blue sun. You're giving your body essentially mixed signals. So
I love that.
yeah, like, it's wrong. It's rude. Don't do it to yourself. So now you're not allowing yourself to fall asleep. You might sleep for 7 hours, 8 hours, but you might not get quality sleep because your melatonin's all messed up. Again, you kind of gave your body mixed signals, and now you wake up in the morning, and like you said, you're so tired because you didn't get quality sleep. So now you're snoozing, and that's going to take you, it's kind of setting the tone for the next day for you.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
I was just saying, man, there's just like so many things I want to branch off of that, but there's a huge difference between like being in bed and like getting quality restful sleep where you actually get REM sleep. And again, sleep hygiene is huge here. So things that I see too that detract from quality sleep that's easily the biggest one. Is I think we underestimate how stimulating that is to our brains. Like if we're trying to wind down, we want to do things that are not stimulating. We have quite literally just this like dopamine loop in front of us that we're chasing, blue light in our faces, brain is being stimulated. It's extremely hard for your body and your brain to wind down straight coming off of that. So that impacts restful sleep. Another one I see is, again, when it comes to sleep hygiene, is one random thing that's coming to mind right now is how close if you're coming home and you are, going on a bender on your pantry, if you don't give your body time to properly digest your food before you lay down, this is why we talk to people a lot too about like post-meal walks for the sake of digestion, is like being horizontal immediately after a big meal. Your body is going to be, and this, again, we see this with alcohol, we see this with digesting a big meal, is your body is busy either metabolizing that alcohol or trying to digest a big meal. This is why, like, you probably see if you wear any sort of like sleep tracking devices, like lowered amounts of REM sleep, higher resting heart rates after a night of drinking for sure. But also if you eat a super big meal, immediately go lay down, like your body literally is burning energy and fuel and processing and doing digestive work. So it's harder for your body to get into a restful state. But another one is like, and I'm sorry if you feel attacked by this, but if you have multiple dogs, cats, partners, all sleeping in your bed with you, that is going to impact your sleep quality. I know we love our pets. Guys, don't sleep in the bed with your pets. They don't care. They're not on your schedule. More people moving and, making noises and waking up, like it's just going to impact your sleep quality. And I've seen this with so many clients where I'm like, okay, let's talk about it. And they're like, yeah, my 2 dogs, my cat, my boyfriend, I'm like, no. So that's, again, like sleep hygiene, just things going into it. But I know when I said alcohol, you kind of like perked up. Yeah. So I think that we're kind of going about this in a random order, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
We'll just jump from here.
Well, and like we can, when we get to like the next night, right? But it's like, and we'll kind of walk through the day, but so you wake up, you feel like crap. We're going to talk about that bulk of it. But a lot of the time people then try to wind down with alcohol, not really realizing that it impacts your sleep. And I've gotten this feedback so much in check-ins of the Mondays after weekends of people just feeling like down and almost a little bit depressed. And it's not in your head. It actually is a downer. It's a depressant. It's depleting your happy hormones. So you might feel like, yeah, I'm having a great time this weekend. And then Monday comes and you're like, I feel like crap. You don't need to be hungover to feel this way either. Like, it doesn't mean like you had to have so much alcohol consumption that you feel this way, but literally your energy levels are going to feel lower. You're going to feel less motivated. And again, that's setting the tone for the next day of like, oh, well, normally I'd go to the gym in the morning, but I'm not feeling it. I don't feel good. I don't have the energy to do it. My body, I should listen to my body. Like, you're right. But at the same time, that could have been avoided by either drinking less alcohol or just like less less frequency of it.
Yeah, unfortunately, even like 2 drinks impacts your REM sleep. And, you know, that's a vicious cycle that I see women particularly get into is like, I had a really stressful day. I'm exhausted. I really just want, this is my thing. I just really want to wind down with a glass of wine. And like here and there, that's fine. Sure. But when I have clients who are doing it 3, 4, 5 nights a week, and that is, you know, we're working on usually also stress management and things like that at that point. Drinking alcohol will suck your energy if it's done frequently. Like you said, there's a reason that Sunday scaries are a thing, right? It is a depressant. It does impact your REM sleep. You know, it is a stressor on your body. And a lot of the things that are draining to your energy levels could be considered stimulation or stressors, right? You have to think about those things being excitatory and taking energy. And we're like trying to just always analyze in our lives, like what are the drains and what are the charges when it comes to our energy levels. And I think there's a lot of things that we're doing that are actually draining that we don't realize are draining. And that's definitely one of them.
Yeah. And then so you wake up and maybe you snooze because you're just like, don't want to deal with today, right? You're not getting up early to be productive and spend time outside or make yourself like a breakfast that's going to take a little longer to make and or consume. You wake up, you run to Starbucks, you grab your favorite iced latte, you're not eating. So now you're caffeinating, right? To make up for the fact that you woke up feeling more tired because your sleep was messed up from the choices that we made before. So you see how it's like kind of like this perpetual cycle of that happening. And so I would never tell someone like, okay, don't have a cup of coffee, but there's smarter ways that you can go about it. First thing is when you wake up in the morning, your cortisol levels are a little higher anyway. So that in itself is your body's natural way of waking you up. So maybe wait a little bit before you immediately go for that cup of coffee and or have it with food. I like to tell my clients, can we like drink 25 ounces of water? Like this is 25 ounces. It's really not that much. I will chug this in the morning. Like I hate doing it, but I immediately feel more energized, which water is a whole other part, but I'll drink water first, then I'll have a meal. And then if I choose to have caffeine, I'll have it after that or with a meal instead. Because again, your body's naturally producing this like energizing hormone to wake you up. So it's kind of almost like counterproductive for you to have caffeine when your body can do it on its own. And then you might experience a crash afterwards. Like how many people say around like 2, 3 o'clock, they're like, oh, just like that 3 p.m. slump that I'm having. It's like, yes, it might be because your job is boring, but it's probably because you had too much caffeine in the morning or like not enough food in the morning to essentially give you real energy and not just like a stimulant effect.
Absolutely. That's a good call out too on the caffeine consumption piece, because usually what we see coupled with low energy is frequently higher levels of anxiety, right? And I know we've all experienced this when you have a super stressful day or you're super nervous about something, you're super anxious about something. When that thing finally passes, presentation, interview, whatever, you hit this wall where you're like, holy shit, I'm so exhausted now. I just feel like I want to take a nap because you've been so like high stimulation for so long. If you're already a little bit of an anxious person, maybe we're dealing with a little bit of hormonal imbalance, maybe your job is a little bit stressful, we're getting shitty sleep, we're waking up feeling kind of not great. We're then pumping caffeine, which is liquid anxiety for some of us out here with, you know, with no food in your stomach. I know you're so caffeine sensitive. But you know, again, your cortisol levels should be highest in that first, you know, hour or so of waking. So I always tell my clients, I'm like, hey, if we can like prolong having that caffeine until after that window and after a solid meal, you're going to feel a lot better. And it's going to have a little bit better of an effect and like a little bit more of a gradual versus, you know, again, putting it into an empty stomach. And I think morning routines are a really big part of that as well. As if the worst habit that I think that I have, not all the time, but I frequently work on breaking this. And again, it's back to the screen thing. Having no morning routine and having the first thing I do in the morning be to address my phone is so draining. Like if you are someone who snoozes, immediately opens your phone, opens your work email, opens your TikTok, opens your Instagram, opens your Facebook, opens your WhatsApp or messaging apps. Like when I get into a cycle of that, I feel terrible because you're waking up immediately doing things that are probably, again, a little bit stimulating, a little bit stressful, and you kind of set the tone that you are being reactive to other people like first thing in the morning, and how you start your day does build momentum. If I find myself compulsively opening my phone in the morning, I will be compulsively opening my phone for the rest of the day. So having some sort of morning routine where you preferably stay off your phone for the first hour of waking, I promise you, you are going to feel so much more energized than if you open your phone, read the news, check your email, whatever, and like immediately are just being sucked into the world outside, and usually again being reactive to other people's needs. Like someone has an important email you have to feel like you have to respond to, you have to respond to an Instagram notification, you know, just things that aren't going to serve you. Just like spend that first hour, even if all you're doing is getting ready for work, like put on something relaxing, you know, listen to good music, listen to a podcast, like just have something else that you are doing in those first hours of your day besides immediately opening your phone. Again, it's like this constant dopamine chasing loop that we get into for various different reasons and various different ways is so unbelievably draining.
I was going to say it's definitely that dopamine aspect that makes it a little bit of addicting, or you feel this need to like connect with people right away in the morning. I used to go through this habit of like, I would read everything and then be like, oh, I'll respond later. And then I would never respond. So if there wasn't actually any connection happening, I just felt like I needed to see whatever it was that was there. And two, if this is how I treat it now, is like, I wouldn't look at work emails if I had a regular 9 to 5 until 9 o'clock, until I got into my office, sat at my desk. I tried really, really hard to do that. And again, maybe like everybody in the company wasn't doing that when I was working in my 9 to 5, but I try to treat my social media the same way. It's like, I'm not picking up a phone call or looking at a DM until 9 o'clock, because that's working hour for me. And it's so hard when you have your own business or you're in like a client facing business, because you're like, they probably need me, but like, I promise you they're going to be fine. So treating and like giving yourself that hour. And if you're watching this going like, okay, I really don't have that much time in the morning, I understand that this can be a progressive thing. So start with 30 minutes to yourself, start with 15 minutes to yourself. You'd be surprised at how addicted you'll get to that time, instead of thinking like, oh my God, they want me to spend 3 hours doing this in the morning. Like, no, I understand that this also still needs to grow and build, but start to give yourself that time and realize how much that can do for you, even if it's a small amount of time. I mean, when we teach our clients breath work, I'm like, start with 3 minutes. They're like, what? Yes, like start small and then build on it from there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about like also having your food with coffee and things like that, but eating more in general
Yes.
could be a huge contributor to having more energy, especially carbohydrates and fats. And like, we won't dive into them, but they're sources of energy for your body. So having a balanced meal, making sure you're getting all of those three in meals, or if you're not eating enough, that could be something, or just having breakfast in the morning, again, with or without your coffee, whatever it might be. But your calories is just another word for energy. So think of it that way, of like, I need to refuel my body. It just slept and actually did quite a bit of work during sleep. I need to wake up and refuel it for the day, or fuel it up for the day. Even if you're not necessarily hungry, you still need to eat.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, do you need, you know, an energy drink because you're tired, or does your body need nutrition and sunlight? Like, we are basically just glorified houseplants. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we need nutrition, we need sunlight, we need to be outdoors. Like, and I think that's a big thing that's missing, is like, we actually, like with nutrition too, so many women are in this, you know, thought that they need to eat less. And, you know, we see people under eating throughout the day consistently. Their energy slumps because we've had no protein, we're living on sugar and caffeine. And then, you know, we kind of get to, again, the balanced meal thing. Balance your meals, balance your blood sugar. We've talked about that in previous lives. I won't go into that in too much detail, other than like, hey, I know you think you're doing yourself a service by eating as little as possible throughout the day, but you're really just impacting, like, your brain needs like 130 grams of glucose a day just to like function for normal things, right? So if you're feeling brain foggy, if you're feeling slumped, if you're feeling like I just can't concentrate and I'm tired, let's look at like how much you've eaten today. My guess is it hasn't been that much, hasn't been balanced, and we're trying to do as low calorie as possible, probably doing a lot of like diet this, low carb that, and not eating a lot of actual nutrients, which then leads up with you going to your pantry at night and kind of eating the entire thing, because you are quite literally, your body is asking for energy, it's asking for nutrients. So rather than thinking, okay, how little can I get away with eating throughout the day so that I can lose weight, let's think about like how much nutrition can I get in my meals and make them each balanced. I promise you, having, you know, significant amount of protein at each of your meals and like actually having colors on your plate will it give you more energy than you think that it will. It'll certainly give you more energy than fasting and intermittent fasting and, you know, eating all of the low calorie, low carb stuff that you think you have to do, when in reality, your body is just probably asking for nutrition.
Yeah. And a big response that we get from our clients too is cravings, like their cravings start to go away when they just cravings start to go away because they're eating more during the day. But what they're realizing is like, no, you're just not hungry at night or feeling like snackish at night because you're actually fueled up and probably eating closer to like what your maintenance is versus your body screaming at you. But again, sometimes if you don't know how to listen to your body, it can be yelling at you this whole time, but you don't really know how to recognize what it's saying to you when it comes to that. And then you mentioned this too of like nutrients, right? So water is a huge one. Water is what brings the nutrients to your body. So if you're not drinking enough water, and like, yes, water can help with so many things, skin, like muscle recovery, but a huge part of it is people saying like, oh my gosh, as soon as I started drinking more water, I actually felt more energized. Well, it's actually carrying the nutrients to all of the cells in your body, which is what you need. So it's really just, and it might sound like we're talking about a lot of things, but it's really just piecing all of these things together and again, slowly implementing them. And once you start to feel good from doing it, you're going to recognize like, I don't want to go back to how I was feeling before. You know, when I started drinking more water, I realized that I was waking up with a headache every single day. I just thought that I was someone who struggled with having a headache, right? It was just like labeled myself that. Now when I wake up with a headache, I'm like, okay, that probably means I didn't drink enough water yesterday. I would have never been able to like indicate that before, but I knew what it felt like to wake up not feeling that way when I drank more water.
Yeah, water is huge. I think that that is like a very quick fix for a lot of people. I was talking to a woman who I want to talk to her later this week too. She's like, yeah, I drink like 1 30-ounce bottle of water a day and, you know, don't eat until 10 a.m. And I was like, all right, we have so many things we can talk about here. But the first one, the easiest one is let's drink more water. And like, that's a very low, again, barrier to entry thing that you can do to increase your energy levels. And we talked a little bit about like people being plants. I want you to take a very real audit of how much screen time versus sun time you are getting. I think we think like, again, there's something energy drink or, you know, whatever that we need to have more energy. It could probably be simpler than that. You know, if you are someone who is finding you are behind a screen indoors in artificial light, in the air condition, nonstop, 24/7, you look at a screen when you wake up, you go to work, you look at a screen, you look at screens on your TV when you come home, and you're not out in nature, you're not actually getting sunlight on your skin. Like that sounds woo-woo and it sounds like, oh, it couldn't be that simple, but honestly, start getting 10, 20, 30 minutes of actual outdoor time in your life every single day and tell me you don't feel better. Movement creates energy. If we go for a walk outside in the sun without our phone, I promise you that's going to give you more energy than any Monster energy drink or Starbucks venti ever could.
And it is such a different kind of energy. It's such an energy from within, like it's a happy energy or like almost like associated with like a happiness emotion. And the other thing too is like, when you said it sounds ooh, it's like, no, it's science, right? It's not just like, hey, go outside and like the sun loves you and you can love it back. It's like, that's a woo, but it's actually just science. And driving in the car doesn't count because your windows are actually blocking like the important things that you need to get from the sun, that it's going to contribute to like vitamin D, right? And all these things. And getting more sun can actually help you sleep better at night too. So if you wake up in the morning, if you guys, I'm sure you've heard of circadian rhythm before. When you wake up in the morning and the first thing you can do is just get sunlight in your eyes. I mean, you don't need to like sun gaze and like stare at it for 20 minutes, but like let sunlight get into your eyes, let it be on your skin and see how you feel towards the end of the day. If you just feel like you're able to wind down a little bit better because your circadian rhythm is becoming a little bit more regular. Same thing with exercise. So many people say, I don't have the energy to exercise, but it's really because they're not exercising that they don't have the energy, and you will sleep better. And it just creates this really, really beautiful ripple effect for you.
Yeah, we were not meant to be sedentary, eating a ton of processed, hyper processed foods, you know, not getting sunlight, not being hydrated. Like we were meant to eat
Yeah.
plants and be outside and get sun and, move our bodies. And again, exactly like you said, I think a lot of people think like, oh, I don't have any energy, therefore I can't work out. When if you could actually just kind of like get yourself to do those workouts, I don't think any of us have ever not felt better after doing a workout when you're like, oh, damn, that actually kind of created a little bit of energy. I didn't want to go, but once I went, I was great and I felt better afterwards. And then, do you have another call? Are you good for?
Yeah, yeah, we're good. Thanks.
One more thing. Well, there's so many more things. Well, two more things and then we'll be done here. Because Alessia is popular and she has other places to be. But a big one is I don't think people realize how having no structure or routine in their life is actually draining their energy. This was talked about a little bit on podcast, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit more detail at another point. But when it comes to discipline, it's really just, it's not this person has just had this innate level of discipline. They just probably have more structure in their life than you do, and they're better scheduling and better at time blocking and managing. We have to make so many micro decisions in a day. Having no structure, not having a plan when you go into the gym, not having any of your meals prepped, not having any of your meals pre-tracked if you're tracking your macros, like all of those things, we were talking about the decision fatigue of that. Yes, it takes me 10 minutes to sit down in the morning, actually far less than that now, but 5 minutes to plan out all of my meals for the whole day, track them, put them into MyFitnessPal, make sure I hit my macros. I only have to think about it once. The rest of my day is on autopilot when it comes to eating. I'm like, I'm hungry. What did I track for lunch? Follow my own meal plan that I know is going to help me reach my goals. If I had to think about that, I eat like 4 meals in a day usually. If I had to think about that 4 different times, okay, what do I have in my fridge? Okay, how much of that am I going to eat? Oh, where does that put me on my macros for the day? Oh, like, how do I fit this in later? Like, oh, am I going to reach my goals? Like, there's just so much more mental fatigue that comes with not having structure. If you have no order in your life, while it might seem like, oh, this is like more free flowing, whatever. If you're someone who's trying to accomplish certain things, you are giving yourself so much more work. And again, like decision fatigue is a very real thing. Especially we saw this a lot during COVID when everybody was at home all the time, suddenly with nowhere to be at any particular time and like no schedules for themselves. Everybody had way more decision fatigue than they've ever had, just because they're like, how do I spend every hour of my day now? How do I have more time, but I'm getting less done just because I have no structure. So I know it seems like, oh, having routines and structures and habits is more work. And it's maybe a little bit more work initially to build those things, but I promise you, like the most productive people aren't just like insane workhorses. They're probably just way more structured and way more regimented and have more rituals than you do. And it's really easy to autopilot those things. I never have to worry, oh, when am I going to train at the gym today? I don't know. Oh, what equipment am I going to use? And like, think about that every single time. I have a plan. It's written down. I know, okay, it's Monday. I know I'm training legs today. Open it. I know what exercises I'm doing. I don't have to constantly worry about what I'm doing next. And that can be true with anything. Even if it's just like laying out your clothes for the gym the night before. Like it can be that simple of like, when I wake up in the morning, it's early. I have too much going on already. Just having my gym clothes laid out eliminates one more decision that I have to make today, So I think too, just like having more structure in your life and managing your time and your schedule a little bit better will actually create more energy for you, even though it seems like more work up front. I know I just went on a little rant about that, but.
No, I think you nailed everything with that. And then it also allows you to have a little bit more freedom and flexibility, even though you're thinking like, what do you mean freedom and flexibility when she just talked about being structured? But if you are like, oh, I don't have the energy to like spend time around my family or friends because I'm always busy doing this and this, it's like, well, when you have a little bit more structure, you actually can have like a bird's eye view of what your day is going to look like, but then also taking into consideration who you're spending that time with. And this is a huge one for me. Like, I feel like what you need to hear yourself is what you teach. So, it's become a thing where it's like, who do you want to trade your time for? And when you come out of that coffee date, dinner date, phone call, whatever, think about how you're feeling. And it's a very, very scary, but really, really important realization to like see how you're feeling. And again, we're not telling you guys to like leave your relationships or like, you know, break up with your parents, but really pay attention to who you're spending your energy around, especially if you're someone who says like, I don't really have a lot of time. Well, then that time is very, very precious.
Yes, I was hoping that's where you were going to go next, is when we're talking about drains and charges, relationships and jobs can be things that drain your energy. People who complain constantly, people who are negative constantly, if you're just constantly turning on mainstream news and listening to the just constant garbage and negativity that's on there, like that does take from your energy. If you are going into a job every day that you tell yourself every day, I hate this job, I'm here for a paycheck, basically, like that's so draining. You know, I'm not saying everybody just go out and quit your jobs tomorrow, but like you can. But yeah, like pay attention to how you feel after you spend time with certain people. Negative people are going to bring down your energy. Like we can go into like, you know, frequencies and energetics and stuff, and like you are what you attract kind of thing. But more so than anything, again, like how do you feel when you leave an interaction with that person? Are you drained or are you charged? You and I sat at a coffee shop and talked nonstop, a mile a minute for like 2+ hours. And we both left being like, like energized, excited, you know, like not every relationship has to be like that, but if there are people in your life who you are giving a lot of your time and energy to, and you are leaving every single interaction feeling like you have less energy, take inventory of that. I don't think we even consciously think about it sometimes. And sometimes there's that misery loves company thing. Like if I'm in the mood to complain, I'm going to reach out to another friend who I know is a very big complainer. And then I leave that interaction feeling even worse than I did before. Like just take inventory of those things, because people can be drains in your life too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I just shared something earlier today of like, this is why gratitude and affirmations, again, for some people, and I was one of them, thought it was like super woo, like, what's that going to do? Right. Like I'm going through this, but when you can be, how do you become that person to somebody else? Is like, you have to find that gratitude and like practice those affirmations yourself. So if you're thinking to yourself, like, oh, maybe I'm that person that's that complainy or whatever, like that's also energy sucking. Is like putting energy towards things that like you either can't control or can't change, or just, you know, saying those things over and over of like, I wish I had more money. You're just perpetuating the fact like you don't have money. That's really what you're thinking about. Or I wish I had more energy, or whatever it might be. So that's why we talk a lot about personal growth with our clients and like stress management and things like that, because you can't always control what other people are doing, but you can control your output and what you're doing as well.
100%. Okay. We covered literally a million different topics. So this, I was like, let's pick 5 things like nutrients, sunlight, movement. And then
you have a problem.
We're just going to audit and fix your entire life. Sign up for coaching, because that's what we do. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. You're loving our just chaotic updates over here. Let us know. But we'll catch you in the next one. I don't know what we have up on the docket next for next week, but it's going to be good. So stay tuned.
See you guys later.
Night, guys.